Pollara, Business Development Manager at Converge, and one of the winners of this year's Women in Supply Chain Award, presented by Supply and Demand Chain Executive. Kaitlin, first off, congratulations on this win. We're very excited, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
So Kaitlin, tell me a little bit about yourself and your company and kind of what brought you to this point in time.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I'll start with Converge because that's, where I am. Converge is an independent distributor in the electronic space. We've been around for close to 40 years. We are considered one of the top in our space. And what I would say probably is our unique differentiator is that we are owned by Arrow Electronics, which is a Fortune 150 company. We work with, companies all over the world that build technology products across a multitude of different verticals. And so my story, I guess I can transition unless you have any other questions about Converge.
No, let's hear about you. Our
so
winner.
Yeah, Kaitlin Pollara. I've been at this for close to 17 years, which is really, I look back and I can't believe it. Half the time, sometimes it feels like it took forever, and sometimes it feels like it was a blink of an eye. But I have really evolved throughout my career at Converge. I started as an asset recovery buyer, so working with organizations and OEMs, helping them manage their excess inventory, which was a really nice introduction into supply chain. And then when Arrow bought us in 2010, I really got my hands around working in the cloud space. And working with hyperscalers. And so since then, that's been my main focus. And although my role, as you mentioned, is business development manager, really what I do is I work with our global leaders to have a great strategy around how we approach global cloud, and also in North America, manage our strategy for OEM procurement. And then on a personal note, I guess, I'm married to a really cool guy. And I have two great little kids, Leo and Gwen.
So over these 17 years, you've obviously, worked your way up to this position. So what attributes do you think a successful supply chain leader should have?
So that, I think that's a fantastic question. I mean, I think that there's so many different attributes a good leader in general has, not just in supply chain. But I think the unique aspect of supply chain and what really differentiates a good leader is collaboration. Supply chain is so complex, it's so multi-leveled, it's ever changing. If we think about just the impact of what happened in the past couple of years with COVID, what that's done to supply chain, flexibility and collaboration is really important. And when I talk about collaboration, I'm really thinking about what our customers need, because my main focus is managing our relationship with our customers. And what our customers need, we work with the biggest manufacturers of technology products in the world. And as you can imagine, they work to a global scale. So what we need to do in regards to the services that we offer them is mirror that service. So I align with our global leaders, not only here in the Americas, but also in APAC and EMEA. And I think that perhaps others in our space might not have that uniformity and that connection. But we don't have time for disagreements or challenging each other. All we have to do is be focused on how we can service the customer best. So I think from my viewpoint, collaboration, and most specifically global collaboration, is one of the best attributes a leader can have in today's supply chain environment.
So you mentioned challenges. Obviously there's a lot of challenges our supply chain industry faces. Kind of what are some of the challenges that you face in your role? And how have you worked with your company to overcome them?
Okay, so I like a good challenge. I like change. I don't think you grow without challenge or change. So I guess there's challenges in your life and in your career and in your work that impact you greater than others. But I would say if I had to identify a challenge that I face most frequently now, it would be evolving with our customers. So like I mentioned previously, they're constantly evolving and changing, and their requirements morph as their supply chain evolves. And I think one of the biggest challenges as a service provider in our space is to ensure that we're providing them the services that they need. So are we, ahead of them? Are we anticipating the challenges that they're facing? So I think what we've done at Converge to ensure that we meet that challenge is to constantly really analyze, what our focus is, our connection with our customers, understanding what they're working on, understanding their challenges, understanding their risk. And so I think that is a challenge that we probably will be managing definitely for the rest of my career, but I think that's just the nature of supply chain.
So traditionally, the supply chain has been this, male-dominated industry. We have seen that kind of evolve and change over the past handful of years, which is why we created this award. So from where you sit in that evolution of time, what is it like being a woman in this traditionally male-dominated industry?
Yeah, so I think that it's funny. That's a question that I'm asked, have been asked, throughout the past years by family, by friends, by other colleagues, and I can say that I love my experience. I love who I've worked with. I've had a very positive experience working with the people that I've worked with and for. That being said, I've worked with many amazing men that have helped shape my career, but I have been much impacted by women who have helped pave the way for me. Currently, I have a fantastic mentor who we're really working on elevating, my game and making sure that I meet the challenges ahead of me. And I think my biggest focus is not really male, female. It's talent, it's passion, it's drive. And I think that as women, we have to stick together. That's super important. I think that's just a life lesson that we all know. And I think the women that have impacted me have given me so much value that what I really try to do is just make sure I pay it forward.
So, obviously there's a labor shortage in our industry, and there's a lot of folks trying to figure out if this is the right industry to be a part of. What advice do you have for those that are starting out in supply chain, and to kind of piggyback, what would you even tell your younger self?
Cool. Yeah, I actually really like this question, because if we could all go back in time and just give ourselves advice, that would be lovely. But I think in regards to getting into supply chain, supply chain is fantastic. I mean, I think it's, a product can be utilized, a product can be bought, but without supply chain, there's nothing. How does it get there? How is it made? So there's so many different intricacies within supply chain that I find it very interesting. And the fast-paced nature of supply chain and the ever-changing nature of it is really exciting for me. So I would recommend this industry to anyone. But in regards to advice I would give someone starting out, my dad, I remember when I started at Converge, and I was so overwhelmed with, how do I make my imprint on this? How do I build my career? I was really young. I was 23 when I started at Converge. And so he gave me advice saying, you don't have to be the most interesting in the room. You want to be the most interested. So I try to tell people that start off either working for me or not working for me, listen, absorb, but blaze your own path. Don't be afraid to ask questions. But I think too, when you say don't be afraid to ask questions, don't talk to just hear your own voice. Really try to absorb the environment, the people that you're working with, and the team that's supporting you. And I think that when I meet talent, whether in an interview process or people that already work at Converge that have those attributes, that are open and willing and dedicated to growth, I know that they're going to succeed.
I love every piece of that advice. So thank you for that, because I think I need to make a sign and put it in my office, just what you said. I love it. Yeah. So how does it feel to be named one of Supply and Demand Chain Executive's top women in supply chain? I
mean, it feels good. Who's going to say it feels bad? I think recognition is always something that people want. I think what I'm most excited about is when this comes out, because right now not many people know, a couple of people I work with know, but I hope I make the people that I have worked with through the years proud.
Thank you, Kaitlin. Again, congratulations. Kaitlin Pollara, Business Development Manager at Converge, and one of the recipients of Supply and Demand Chain Executive's Women in Supply Chain Award. To learn more about Kaitlin, go to stcexec.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.